Investiture of the Gods, Chapter 85.
Okay, let's jump in.
Let's do it. So we start with the spark, right?
Yeah.
The thing that kicks off this whole emergency. It's an immediate military failure at the front.
A total disaster for the Shang.
The commander at Lintong Pass, Wu Yongchen, has just been completely routed. He lost his best men, and the text says the Zhou forces had him enclosed in the center of the battlefield.
He's trapped.
Totally. He's forced to retreat, beaten, sweating, his armor's all askew. And this is what triggers him sending an urgent SOS message straight to the capital, Chij.
And what I find so brilliant in the text is the irony of the messenger's journey.
Right. The story just stops to describe the scenery.
It does. You get this beautiful, detailed poem. It talks about late spring turning into early summer, mature plums and growing wheat and birds singing. It's this harmonious, peaceful landscape.
Which is just horrifying.
It's absolutely horrifying because it shows how completely insulated the capital is from the military doom that is literally racing towards it.
It's like the nation is still functioning, happy and abundant, but its political core is just hollowed out, and they have no idea.
Not at all. So the messenger finally gets there, delivers the document, and it lands in the hands of Zhang Dafu Eli.
And Eli knows this is serious. He takes it straight to the prince, Wei Ziqi.
And that's where the shark really sets in. Wei Ziqi is just utterly horrified by what he reads.
He has that great line, "The enemy is at the gates, yet the Son of Heaven rests high, unknowing."
The disconnect is absolute. The danger is, as he says, within arm's reach, but the king is completely oblivious.
So where do they find him? Not in a war room, that's for sure.
Not even close. King Zhu is drinking and feasting with the three demons, the fox, the pheasant, and the lute spirits.
At Lutai, his ridiculous pleasure palace.
Right. And for anyone listening, Lutai is pure indulgence. The presence of the Sanyao, the three demons, just confirms it. This isn't just a party. It's a symbol of total hedonistic decay.
It really says a lot that a prince has to physically drag the king out of a party to tell him the kingdom is collapsing.
And King Zhu is genuinely shocked. He can't believe Shang has taken 4 passes and is now threatening the 5th. He's forced to hold court, but this is the moment that just reveals everything.
The sources make a point of saying he hadn't held court for many years.
Which raises the question, right? How is the dynasty even functioning?
Was it just on autopilot? Run by competent ministers like Wei Ziqi who were trying to manage an empire without its emperor?
I think that's exactly it. The system was running on the loyalty of the lower ranks, but that loyalty is getting very, very brittle.
And you see that brittleness in the officials' reaction when the king finally shows up.
Yes. They're not celebrating a victory or a great decree. They're just overjoyed that he appeared at all.
It's pathetic, really.
It is. The text even has a zan, a little praise poem that describes the restored royal pomp-smoking phoenix pavilions and all that. It's celebrating the sight of the king, not his actions.
The visual spectacle of power has completely replaced actual governance.
The whole infrastructure is there, but the moral center is just vacant.
But that flimsy facade, it gets shattered pretty quickly, doesn't it? One official steps up and says what the princes couldn't.
This is the real turning point, I think, for the Shang court. It comes from an official named Lintong, and he delivers this brutal, complete truth check.
And he doesn't just talk about the military situation.
No, not at all. He focuses entirely on the king's moral bankruptcy. He lays into him for abandoning governance, for listening to slander, for wild indulgence in wine and women.
The consequences are dire. He says the king has caused heaven's sorrow and popular resentment.
And then he says something really sharp. He tells King Zhu that because the king never valued the loyal and wise, well, the officials also do not value the king.
Ouch. That's direct.
It's incredibly direct.
Yeah.
And he makes it clear that the time for an easy fix is long gone. He doesn't just talk about Lintong Pass. He paints a picture of a nation under siege from all sides.
Right. He lists all the attacks. It's not just Jifa in the west.
No, he says Jiangwen Huan is in the east, Yishan is attacking the south, and Shanghaihu is threatening the north. It's a 4-front war that the king has ignored until it's on his doorstep.
And then comes that line, the one that defines this whole era's downfall.
A single log cannot support a collapsing mansion.
And he says this directly to the Son of Heaven. He's basically saying, this is too big for any one person to fix, and it's your fault.
The king is just paralyzed. He has to take the advice. So Li Tong recommends 2 generals, Deng Kun and Ruiji.
And he describes them as having loyal hearts and a true dedication to aiding the nation. They're basically the last good men standing.
Pretty much. The king grants them the highest military authority, the yellow axe and white tassel, and begs them to defeat the Zhou army. But this is where the scene shifts from just politics to real human tragedy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because the king gives them the authority, but the princes give them the moral weight.
That's a great way to put it. The princes, Weizi and Jizi, they personally serve the generals wine, and they are openly weeping, crying as they implore them to save the nation.
They tell them the safety of the nation hinges on this one trip.
Just let that sink in. The highest nobles in the land are in tears, admitting that the mandate of heaven has basically shifted away from the king and now rests entirely on these two generals.
It's a moment of just profound despair.
And the generals accept it. They vow that their loyal heart and righteous spirit are finally being tested. They know they aren't just defending a past, they're defending the last shred of Shang legitimacy.
That scene makes the political stakes so clear. We get the moral vacuum, the betrayal, but now we have to connect this hopelessness back to the tactical reality on the ground.
Right, because the political collapse is defined by Lintong's powerful words, but the tactical problem that started all this was caused by a very specific piece of magic.
So we pivot from the decay in the capital back to this supernatural roadblock at Lintong Pass. Wu Yongchun's army wasn't beaten by numbers. It was beaten by Bianji's unique warfare.
Exactly. Bianji himself is injured, but his magical banner, his fan, is still active outside the pass. It's like a passive minefield just sitting there.
And under it are the captured weapons of some of Zhu's most powerful generals. Lai Zhenzi's golden staff, Wei Hu's pestle. These are powerful magic items themselves.
Which proves the banner has already worked against some heavy hitters.
And this trap is so technical, it targets consciousness itself. We get a perfect test case when Tu Xing-sun, the Zhu grain supervisor, shows up.
Right, and he's skeptical. He sees the weapons and thinks, how could these powerful guys lose their weapons to a simple banner? So he just walks up to it.
Big mistake.
Huge. He goes right under its influence, and the text says he immediately falls down, unaware of human affairs, instantly knocked out cold.
It's a localized knockout blow. But the rules for this magic are even weirder.
They are, because when the Shang general, Wu Yongchun, orders his regular soldiers to go grab the unconscious Tu Xing-sun, they can't.
Why not?
The moment they approach the banner, they collapse too, unseeing, unmoving. This is why it's so personalized. The text reveals that only Bianji's own household guards are immune.
So they're the only ones who can safely approach the banner and retrieve the captives.
Exactly. It's like an anti-spiritual firewall that's keyed specifically to Bianji's allegiance or maybe his technique.
So Tu Xing-sun is captured by these special guards. Wu Yongchun has no idea who he is and just orders his execution.
But Tu Xing-sun isn't helpless, of course. He's the Earth Traveler. As the blades are coming down, he uses his earth-traveling art. He gives a little shake and poof, he vanishes into the ground.
Which confirms his identity and shows, while the banner's spiritual attack could knock him out, his own personal elemental magic is sovereign.
Exactly. He can escape ropes and steal. His power is superior to the physical guards, even if he couldn't get past that spiritual weapon.
So the next day, Bianji is healed up and comes out to challenge the Zhu forces again. And this time, Neza answers.
Yep, they fight, and Bianji does the same thing. He tries to lure Neza, pulling his horse back and riding straight for the banner, trying to trick him into the trap zone.
But Neza stops. And the reason why is, well, it's fascinating.
It's one of the best parts. The source is very precise here. Neza is a lotus body, a Lianhua Huashen.
Meaning he was resurrected from lotus roots and leaves.
Right. And because of that, he possesses no soul or spirit in the human sense, no hun or po.
So the banner's magic, which specifically targets the human soul to knock you out,
would have no effect on him at all. He has a kind of built-in spiritual immunity.
but he doesn't test it.
No, and that's the kicker. The text says he could have gone past it unharmed. But his inherent caution, his tactical judgment, makes him avoid the risk anyway. He relies on strategy over, metaphysical certainty. It's a terrifying spiritual weapon.
So what did it do?
Wu Yongchun used it to capture some of the most powerful generals in the Zhou army. We're talking Nangang Shi, Huang Ming, the famous Huang Feihu, and even the wing general, Lai Zhenzi.
Wow, so he's winning by just taking their biggest assets off the board.
Exactly. From their perspective, the Shang cause feels pretty secure right at this spot.
Which is why the emperor sends Deng Kun and Ruiji. It's
Yeah.
not out of panic.
No, it's to stabilize things, to just lock down this final stretch against the Zhu commander, Jingzia.
Okay, so they arrive. What happens?
Well, the first thing they do is ask for a battle brief. And Wu Yangchun, who is, justifiably proud of himself, starts talking about his greatest triumph.
Let me guess.
He confirms that he captured the rebel of the Five Passes, Huang Feihu. And he says this, assuming he's delivering really good news.
And this is the pivot. The entire narrative just shifts from this big political story to something intensely personal. Wu Yangchun has no idea that by confirming that one capture, he has basically just sealed the pass's fate.
Absolutely none. Because we learn this crucial hidden detail. Huang Feihu is actually Deng Kun's close relative, his maternal cousin's husband, to be exact.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this isn't about defending the Shang dynasty anymore.
Not for Deng Kun. Suddenly it's about defending a system that is actively holding his family captive and threatening them.
So his entire mission to shore up the imperial defense now puts him in direct opposition to the safety of his own family. That's a huge conflict.
A huge moment of isolation. The text says he immediately reasons that this changes everything. The war is fundamentally lost.
But how does he make that leap so fast? From, my relative is captured to the entire war is lost.
Because it connects the personal injury to the overwhelming political reality. He thinks to himself that 800 lords have already defected to Zhu.
Okay, so that's not just a rumor. That's a statistic.
It's a fact. It means 2/3 of the known world has already switched sides. So if the dynasty is collapsing everywhere else and your family is being held hostage by the side you're supposed to protect...
Then switching sides becomes what he calls the best strategy.
Right. It's just total political pragmatism.
But he doesn't just, throw down his sword right there.
No, he's a general. He's strategic. He resolves to observe Ruiji first. Treason is dangerous, but coordinated treason, that's a viable military option. So he decides to wait.
So the next day, they all march out. The armies are marshaled for this big confrontation.
They are. And we get this one final kind of subtle act of Shang caution.
What's that?
Their subordinate, Bianji, explicitly warns them about Wu Yangchun's banner. He points out that the Netherworld White Bone banner is still hanging high up there.
The weapon that won them all their victories so far.
The very one. And he tells the troops to take the left path to physically avoid its range. They are literally going into battle having to skirt around their own side's greatest weapon.
That's a terrible omen right there.
It really is. So when they arrive at the front, they don't immediately attack. They do something unusual. They request that King Wu and the marshal come forward to speak.
So not just the generals. They want to talk to the leadership.
Exactly. And Zhang Zia, the Zhu strategist, he gets it immediately. He recognizes this implies a deep intent.
So he brings King Wu to the front line. And this is where the whole idea of the mandate of heaven stops being, just a philosophical concept.
And becomes something tangible, something you can see.
Right.
The sources are so specific about the visual impact King Wu has on them. They see his dragon and phoenix demeanor, his divine energy. There's talk of a golden aura and a purple mist that seems to surround him.
So he literally looks the part. The text is telling us, and the generals are seeing with their own eyes, that this guy is the Lord who responds to destiny.
Yes. And that image alone just challenges the entire premise of their loyalty. You're told to fight a rebel, but the rebel shows up looking like he has heaven's direct endorsement.
Which leads to this amazing clash of words.
It does.
Deng Kun and Ruiji start, and they're focused entirely on tradition, right?
Completely. They accuse Zhu of violating the four virtues, of being ungrateful for King Zhu's past mercy.
Yeah.
They're clinging to the old order.
Their solution is basically surrender, and maybe the emperor won't kill you.
Pretty much. Submit for mercy is the phrase they use.
And Jiang Ziya's response is the classic Zhu rebuttal. He just pivots entirely away from tradition and toward fate.
He invokes the mandate of heaven, Tin Ming Wuchang. The mandate is not constant, it's fickle.
And it only passes to the virtuous.
Right. He doesn't even bother to defend Zhu's actions. He just destroys King Zhu's legitimacy. He lists all his sins, tyranny, immorality, slaughtering ministers, neglecting the rights.
Guilty of every sin, I think the text says.
It does. And then he delivers that ultimate invitation to abandon the dark and turn toward the light.
But talk is cheap. They're still imperial generals. It's going to take more than a good speech.
Oh, it does. It takes something else entirely to truly break their will.
And that something else is?
Pure, terrifying force. The battle begins, but it's almost immediately overshadowed. While the other generals are stalled, the real catalyst appears.
It's Neza.
It's Neza, and he doesn't just ride in, he manifests his full, horrifying, cosmic form.
Which is what, exactly? 3
heads and 8 arms riding the windfire wheels. This isn't a man or a general anymore. This is a Taoist deity who's come to fight.
3 heads and 8 arms. That's not a fight. That's a demonstration of a total cosmological mismatch.
The psychological impact is immediate and absolute.
The sources are really clear about Deng Kun's reaction, aren't they?
Extremely. He sees this abnormal appearance and is so terrified that his soul scattered.
He doesn't even try to fight him.
No, it's pure panic. He just orders an immediate retreat, drags everyone back into the pass. Neza's appearance basically confirmed every rational fear he had. The gods are literally on King Wu's side.
So they get back inside the pass. They haven't been defeated in battle, not really.
No, but they've been utterly broken by what they saw, and both generals, separately, fall into deep thought.
And they both land on the same conclusion.
Yeah.
We have to defect.
They do, and what's fascinating is how their reasoning converges from different angles. Take Deng Kun. His internal monologue is, it's very logical.
Right.
He confirms the time is with Zhu. King Zhu is finished. King Wu's imperial aura is undeniable. He knows Jiang Ziya's forces are full of these Taoist experts.
Like Neza.
Exactly. And most importantly, his relative, Huang Feihu, is still trapped. He has personal, political, and spiritual reasons all pointing the same way.
What about Rui Ji? Is he thinking the same thing?
Almost, but from a different perspective. Rui Ji's reflection is almost purely pragmatic military calculus. He agrees that King Wu has a superior heir, and that Jiang Ziya's followers are extraordinary people. But his conclusion is simpler.
Which is?
Since Zhu already controls 2/3 of the world, holding Lintong Pass is fundamentally impossible. His primary concern is preventing a slaughter.
So for him, it's about his troops. Surrendering will save lives?
Yes. Further resistance would just be criminal negligence, so he resolves to sound out Deng Kun the next day. Their decision, made in a private room, that's the pivot point for the entire campaign.
That's it.
Okay, so let's set the scene for this. It's almost like a political thriller. We start behind enemy lines.
Right.
Deng Kun and Rui Ji, the commanding officers, they're not sitting pretty. The sources show they are already expressing some intense private concerns about the sheer strength of the Zhu forces.
And it's more than just a military assessment. They recognize that Jiang Ziya is skilled, yes, but he's also backed by Taoist practitioners who are, frankly, far more powerful than their own.
That creates a kind of political vertigo, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, they're high-ranking Shang officials, but they can see the writing on the wall, and they know that wall is about to be smashed by superior magic.
So this anxiety, it leads to a very sensitive meeting. Deng Kun invites Rui Ji to drink in a secret room. He starts a conversation that is so dangerous, so politically charged.
Oh, if a single guard heard it, they'd both be executed.
Yeah.
Instantly.
And this ritual of drinking wine, it's necessary for this level of treason.
It is.
Right?
Deng Kun has to be absolutely certain of his ally. He uses a rhetorical device, a casual question that is anything but casual, to test Rui Ji's true allegiance.
He sets up the ultimate challenge. He asks, tell me a joke. Will Zhu rise or will the king of Shang rise?
Which is just a pointed way of asking.
Yeah.
Who holds heaven's mandate?
And Rui Ji's response.
He doesn't hesitate. This is the moment the whole siege turns.
Yeah.
He argues that the king of Shang has committed the cardinal sin of dynastic politics. He has lost virtue.
He's lost Shai.
Yes. And when a ruler loses virtue, the world fragments and the people, they demand clarity. They demand a new, clear ruler.
That's the classic justification for regime change, isn't it? But how much of that is genuine moral outrage and how much is just, a good cover story for switching sides when you know you're on the losing team?
Well, that's the strategic brilliance of the argument. In dynastic China, the claim of virtue is the currency of legitimacy. Rui Ji is providing the necessary philosophical, even legal framework for their treason.
So he's building the case.
He's building the case. He points out that Zhu Wu is benevolent rende, and his advisor Jiang Ziya is highly capable. And on top of that, he notes that Zhu Wu has these powerful Taoist masters acting as their crucial wings.
So it's not just a moral argument, it's a detailed strategic assessment. Zhu has better leadership, better advice, and crucially better magic.
Exactly. Rui Ji concludes that the future ruler of the world must be Zhu Wu. And Deng Kun agrees immediately, but there's this moment of deep regret. He laments that they were not born at the right time. And then he quotes that ancient wisdom that seals the deal.
The one about the bird.
A good bird chooses its tree to perch, and a worthy official chooses his ruler to serve. And that's it. That is the formalized admission. Their loyalty to Shang is broken.
They realize that if they stay, they would die in vain. They have to defect. But here's the problem, the central logistical problem. They're senior commanders inside a heavily defended pass. They can't just send an email. They have, as the text says, no door to enter. They need a connection.
And this is where the plot leaps from high-level political calculation into sheer, unbelievable, magical serendipity. Their logistical barrier is about to be smashed by an agent traveling through the very earth beneath their feet.
So while the Marquises are sitting there, frustrated, Zhang Jie is back in the zoo camp, equally frustrated. What's specifically stalling him? It's that magical defense system, the ghostly soul white bone banner.
It's a terrifying piece of magical technology. I mean, the banner isn't just a physical barrier. Its effect is psychological. It's destructive.
So what does it do?
It covers the landscape in this suffocating mist. It causes extreme disorientation, fear, hallucinations among the troops. Any army that tries to pass through is immediately scattered, disabled, often fighting phantom enemies.
The Zhu army is effectively stopped dead in its track.
Totally. So Jiangxia can't launch a conventional assault. He needs intelligence on the magic itself. So he calls in his most unconventional asset, Tuxing Sun, Earth Traveler Sun.
And he's critical because he can bypass all conventional defenses.
That's his whole thing. He's instructed to scout for weaknesses, check on some captured generals. He moves quickly, just burrowing through the soil beneath the pass.
He first tries to scout the prison, but the guards are alert, so he backs off. He's moving blindly underground, just searching for any scrap of actionable intel.
And that is the moment fate or destiny or whatever you want to call it intervenes. He tunnels directly beneath the secret room. He stops.
And he hears everything.
He overhears the entire high-stakes conversation. The defection, the talk of virtue, the need for an intermediary. The whole plot just falls into his lap. It's an intelligence jackpot secured entirely by being in the right place at the right time.
A few feet below the floorboards,
Yep.
you have this incredible image of a spy literally listening from the basement, realizing he holds the key to the entire war. He doesn't waste a second. He makes the boldest possible entrance.
He drills up from the earth. I just imagine this sudden burst of soil and rock, and he appears instantly before the two terrified Marquises. The source says they were frightened speechless.
Well, of course. They're having a treasonous discussion, and suddenly a small, dirt-covered man materializes to confirm their fears and offer a solution.
And Tuxing Sen is the consummate professional. He immediately identifies himself as a zoo officer, thereby confirming to the Marquises that their wish has just been granted. He offers to be their introducer.
He promises that Zhang Jie is humble and will welcome them warmly.
The deal is secured right there. Deng Kun realizes that this terrifying magical intrusion is, in fact, the door to enter. They were just lamenting they didn't have.
So he immediately writes a letter of intent.
He does. Tuxing Sen takes the letter, promises to return to coordinate the surrender, and just vanishes. Instantly back into the earth, leaving them completely stunned.
It's the ultimate example of the tactical value of instantaneous travel. He carries high-value political intelligence from inside the enemy high command to the zoo general in minutes.
And this rapid transfer is why the ancient poem about this battle emphasizes that all things in the world are decided by heaven's numbers. The plot was initiated by human decision, but its success depended entirely on this unique coincidental proximity.
Zhang Jie gets the letter at dawn, and he's ecstatic. He calls it the good fortune of the Son of Heaven. He knows he has the political victory secured, but he still needs the tactical means to enter the pass without his army being ravaged by the magic.
He needs to neutralize the banner.
Exactly. And this leads to the brilliant political maneuvering we see next. Deng Kun and Rui Ji, they need to execute a public action that proves their loyalty while secretly disabling the defense.
So they rally the troops, they declare they have to win swiftly to restore the king's command, all for show.
Their actual target, though, is the banner's keeper, Bianji.
Right. The ghostly soul white bone banner is Bianji's treasure. It's his responsibility. So Deng Kun, leveraging his superior authority, demands Bianji remove the banner from the main road.
What's the excuse? He can't just say, hey, we need to defect, so please take down the superweapon.
No, the reason is pure political theater. Deng Kun argues that it is unseemly for royal officials to use detours or secret paths. They must march down the middle road.
Ah, so it's a move of protocol.
It is. And it forces Bianji to choose between defying his superiors and protecting his magical defense.
BNG is completely trapped. He knows removing the banner will mean the fall of Lintong Pass, but he can't disobey.
So he compromises. He comes up with a temporary workaround. He secretly draws 3 protective talismans, or lingfu.
Like paper charms.
Exactly. He places one inside the headwear or helmet of Dengkun Ruiji and their colleague Wu Yongchun. His plan is to allow safe passage for the leadership while keeping the overall defense up.
Hoping that satisfies the Marquise and maintains the barrier's integrity.
And then comes the moment of tension. The 4 commanders, Dengkun, Ruiji, Wu Yongchun, and Bianji, they ride out to challenge the Zhu camp, and they pass right through the banner's affected area without any confusion.
Which, for the Zhu generals, must have been utterly baffling.
Completely. They saw 4 men ride through a space that should have disoriented all but the keeper. Jiang Ziya knows immediately that the magic has been circumvented, but he doesn't know how. The ruse is successful, but the vital intelligence is still missing.
So now we get to the necessary theatrical violence. Dengkun and Ruiji need to maintain their illusion of loyalty.
Right. They engage in a brief sham battle with Zhu generals like Huang Fibiao and Horn Feibao.
A bit of showmanship.
All showmanship. They clash weapons, they make noise, they exchange fierce words, but neither side is really looking for a lethal confrontation. They perform just long enough to justify their ride out, then they retreat to rest and regroup.
But Jiang Ziya, he ignores the performance. He's focused on the strategic anomaly. 4 men pass the barrier.
He needs the secret.
And he knows exactly who to ask. Tuxing Sun volunteers for his second and even more crucial infiltration.
This second trip is all about the details. Tuxing Sun slips back into the pass and finds the Marquises. They're relieved to see him, knowing they have the key piece of tactical intelligence he needs.
And they explain the whole scheme. Bianji's compromise, the use of the talisman, and where he hid it.
Inside their headwear.
This is the physical transfer of power. They hand over their protective talisman to Tuxing Sun. They urge him to take it to Jiang Ziya quickly and hasten the attack.
They promise they now have a concrete plan to surrender the gate at exactly the right moment.
I mean, stop and think about that. The fate of a massive siege, the continued existence of a 500-year dynasty, boiling down to a tiny piece of paper. A simple charm passed from a defecting general to an earth-traveling spy in the dead of night.
And that small piece of paper contained the subtle formula of the enemy's entire defense. Jiang Ziya receives the talisman, he understands its structure, and he instantly prepares to write new counter-talismans for his whole army.
The magical defense of Lintong Pass, which had stalled the Zhu for weeks, was neutralized overnight.